For this episode, we bring on Emilie Kealani. Emilie is a Filipino-Hawaiian soprano and currently the curator and producer of Kapwa, a multidisciplinary performance that brings Asian and AAPI artists together. I met Emilie last year while doing a production and was incredibly surprised at how much she has already accomplished, all while she is still in school. She's a terrific singer and has incredible ideas that bring community to AAPI spaces and voices. Please welcome Emilie Kealani. Welcome to Wear Yellow Proudly Through Our Lens, Conversations with Asians and Asian Americans. I'm your host, Julius Sanchez. Hi everybody, welcome back to this episode of Wear Yellow Proudly Through Our Lens. My name is Julius, I'll be your host, and today we have Emilie Kealani. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Emilie Kealani. I'm a soprano, and right now I'm over at the Curtis Institute of Music finishing up my master's.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So this is your third year being here, and you have been everywhere, because I feel like I've met you, or like at least I've like kind of like heard of you. I was like, oh my God, who's this Mazeta? I would love to actually bring her on the show. This is something I have not told you. I've known of you since before Glimmer Glass, your first year of Glimmer Glass.
Really? From what?
Just because of just like, I think just like seeing the cast list and everything. I was like, oh, like I'd love to bring her on the podcast. This is really great. I think she's Asian. This would be wonderful. And so like, and I never got to meet you or anything. And then I saw that you're here and I was like, she's in school? That's insane. And then you went back to anyway. I'm very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
This is something that I've never actually talked to you about.
I know.
Yeah. Tell us about you. Tell us about how you got into music and singing in general.
So I'm from San Francisco. I graduated from high school when I was 16 and I moved over to Manhattan. So I went to Manhattan School of Music for my undergrad, took a gap year in between that. I went to Santa Fe that summer before coming here to Curtis. And I've done a lot of cool things in the past couple years since being at Curtis. Glimmer Glass over the summer, the past 2 years. I went to Staatsoper Stuttgart. I got to sing Yano and Yanufa, which was my first pants role.
Okay. I feel like there's like not a lot of soprano pants roles.
No, it was my first one, and I had so much fun because I had just done Musetta, which is diva, like big insane dress, big laugh, big stage presence. She comes in, she commands the stage.
She is
feisty
opera,
and sassy, And so then doing a complete shift to being this young tomboy playing ping pong on stage and smoking a fake J and having a cigarette and just messing around on stage. Really, it was so fun. Like, it was a complete character shift and a complete mood shift, and Yenufa is also just a haunting production in general. But that was so fun, and also it's just to have the experience in Germany.
It was amazing. What's been your favorite place that you've been at, or lived in? Question mark.
I had such a great time over in Germany. I think that was a really fun experience, and I was new into the culture and into the language, and I still am.
Sure, yeah.
But having the opportunity to dip my toes into that kind of lifestyle and that experience, I thought that was really great. But actually, my favorite chapter of my life so far, I mean, I've had amazing, beautiful opportunities singing-wise, but I think my favorite time was after undergrad. I moved back home to San Francisco.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I was still practicing. I still had lessons. I would go to auditions every so often, but I just lived a normal non-arts kind of life, I worked at a bakery. I worked at a nonprofit over in the Mission, and I got to spend so much time with my family. And I think that's kind of something that I struggle with, being in the arts and being on the move all the time. It's either I'm in New York or I'm in Philly, or I've been in Santa Fe and St. Louis and just all those places and overseas and all that stuff, which is amazing. And I'm so happy to have those experiences. Right. But my heart is in San Francisco and my entire family's in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I have time home, I think that's just like the most beautiful time that I can spend and that I have. Like I loved my year there, and when I left, it was so sad because I wasn't sure when the next time I would be able to live there again.
My gosh.
And I still don't know.
right. Yeah, because like you're on this coast now, and being on the East Coast, and then obviously being on not just the proximity, but also just like time wise as well. I feel like I've had friends and partners that have been on the opposite side of the U.S., and it's just like even just like timing things out and just like navigating just when I can find the time to be able to talk to them too. It's just like
impossible, and we're just so busy, you know, with like between rehearsals and school, and then traveling for auditions and for other gigs, all the different time zones and all of that stuff. Sometimes it gets lost in like the hustle and bustle, but I just, especially this year, family's always been important to me, but especially this year, I just
keep you grounded.
Yeah, I just realized how important it is, and you know,
when if you don't mind me asking, how do you, for you, what do you do for yourself that is just like, cool, like this is home for me, or like, you know, like how do you do that when you're existing in Philly, or like you're in New York, or even overseas or whatever, you're like missing family and everything? Like, how do you do that for you? Because like I'm on the road too, and you know, like I think we're equally so, and it's for me, I don't think it gets any easier personally. And you know, like I lately, especially for this contract, I've been calling my mom a lot because she works, she's a nurse, a Filipino nurse. And so, she, you know, like she actually works, evening shifts. And so I've just been calling her like through the day. Cause like we have the days off, like at least for me. And like, you know, like I've been like a bit homesick because like I'm on my second contract.
So homesick lately.
Yeah. Like right now I'm on my second contract of like being away from like second straight contract from like one thing to the next.
And she's over in Houston? She's
in Houston. Yeah. And so like I'm glad because like in about a week and a half I'm flying back, and I'm there for 2.5, 3 weeks. Nice. Sorry, 3.5, 3 months. So it's nice.
And then
like,
you'll come back here.
Yeah. So like I'll be there for the holidays and everything. And so, which is really great. But then, you know, so anyway, to go back to the question, how do you do that for you? Like how do you navigate that when you're just like, cool, like how I miss my family, or like do you just call them, or like do you, because like I know you also like cook as well, and so we were like kind of talking about that for a little bit. What do you do whenever you're like homesick and stuff?
I find that I get homesick a lot.
Really?
I mean, it's nice that every time I have a big show, my family is always able to come out and see the show, or I know if that they're not able to see that particular show, they're always supporting and they're always asking how it is, and you know, wishing me good luck for all my shows. But I think when my family comes to a show, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's so much fun to have them there in the audience, but it's not the same as going home and being home in our family house and around the rest of the family too.
Do you have siblings?
I have siblings. I have an older brother and I have a younger sister.
Oh my gosh.
And I have 2 dogs. And one of the things that I found the best part of, you know, trying to find that balance of like, I'm homesick, but I'm still here, is that I have my dog with me right now.
Cool.
And so she's lived with me in New York. She lived with me here in Philly the first year, and now she's back for this year. And I love it. I mean, she is my girl. Like she's with me all the time.
She's home.
Yeah, she's home. Fantastic. So it's really great. But she does have a brother at home. They're from the same litter. And every time I separate them, I feel so bad.
So do you fly with her then, or like?
I fly with her. She's an angel on the flight.
Yeah?
She does better than the babies on the flight.
Oh my gosh,
which is hilarious. But you know, I mean, people don't even know she's under the seat in front of me because she's so quiet.
Wow.
And she loves it. She just sleeps. She's an old lady. She's almost 10.
Wow,
So but she's experienced life with me. I mean, she's my childhood dog. So to be able to bring her to New York and Philly. If I go overseas again for a longer amount of time, last time it was too short to bring a dog for 4 months. If I'm there for maybe a little bit longer than that, I think she would come with me if she's still kicking.
Sure. I admire people a lot that bring their pets to gigs, because one, I feel like it's inadvertently becoming like the therapy animal sometimes whenever they do exist with us and everything.
So she can legally be there.
because my dog is like 50 pounds and I love her to death. I used to bring her when she was like, when I first got her. Yeah. Like my first like production or two, I would just bring her, and people would, and we would double cast at University of Houston, and so people would just be like off to the side and just like holding her and cradling her and be like, I want to take her out, just as like a bit of a like a production dog in a way. And so like when now she's like a lot bigger and she is a lot of energy, and so it's a lot harder for me to actually like bring her and take her or anything. But it's so wonderful seeing pets and animals on and everything. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
I'm glad I have her here. But then also like a way that I connect back to home is like food, sinigang.
Yeah. What else do you like to cook? Because like you just cooked sinigang, which is really wonderful. So fun fact, our last day off, at least like for production, our last day off was Sunday, and then Emily texted me. She was like, do you know where to get like some Filipino ingredients in Philly? And I'm just like, and I didn't tell you this, but I was like, I haven't really like lived in Philly, but I'm just like, well, there's an H Mart like close by, and I was like, I can go swing by and pick it up. She's like, great. And so I swung by H Mart, and like I think it was like really terrible because they had like a Korean section and a Japanese section, like no Filipino section, which I'm just like fine, but it had like almost no Filipino ingredients or just like Filipino anything, and so did not have sinigang mix and patis, which is fish sauce specifically. And I was like, fuck, okay, well, I'm going to try another place, and then the same thing. And I was just like, oh my God, there's like nothing here. And I like cruddy enough, I just like I went to like a boba tea place. Cause like one, I had to go pee, but also I was like, I'm going to sit down and find this thing. Cause I told you I'm going to get it for you. And then I found it on Amazon, both of the things. And I was like, hey, but good news, bad news. I can't find it anywhere in Philly, but it's coming like shipping to Curtis tomorrow, so I can still give it to you. The silliest thing. But yeah, I don't cook Filipino food.
Really?
No, never. Especially well, because like my mom makes it when I'm back at home.
But mom's cooking is the best.
1000%. And
I'll take mom's cooking over my cooking any day.
I've never said this on the podcast.
And dad's.
Oh, 1000%.
I got you, Dad.
Perfect. Yeah, no, 1000%. I completely agree. I never said this on the podcast, but I think it's very true. Everybody always claims that their mom's cooking or their parents' cooking is always the best, and I think everybody is very much truthful in that statement, because like you grew up with that, and so like of course it's the best, and like I 1000% agree. I don't know how your sinigang would be like compared to my mom's, but I'm sure it's like,
I have no idea. Also, I made it in an Instant Pot.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I've never done that before.
Okay. My friend makes her
makes
her adobo in an Instant Pot, and I think that's so fascinating because like usually it's like thicker, but hers is like really like it's like thinner. It's almost like soup like, and I was like, this is weird, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, also like because I moved into this new apartment in Philly, and I started from really just 3 luggages. That's how I've been traveling this entire year. I'm able to fit my life in 3 luggages.
Oh my God.
Just a little sad, but at the same time, it's very efficient. And so I've just been going contract to contract, or from school to the contract, back to school, in these 3 luggages. Right. And so I started this apartment from literally nothing. Yeah. And now that I know that I'm going to be leaving in 9 months, basically, I'm going to be out of here in May, so I don't really want to furnish it completely.
Like, then it's just like a massive amount of
what
shit.
What do I do? I mean, especially if I'm going somewhere cross country. Yeah. Do I lug it all the way there?
Yeah, I would not want to go take a U-Haul all the way across country, right?
So I have been very mindful about everything that I've been buying, and I was like, I don't have like a big pot, but I have an Instant Pot. There you go. And that's I can cook anything in that. You can make anything in an Instant Pot.
1000%. I used to travel when I would drive to gigs, because like I've only been recently flying to gigs. I've almost always driven to gigs, and so I always brought my own rice cooker, because I can cook rice fine, and I did this earlier this morning actually in on just like a normal pot, but I hate doing it.
Really?
Do you do it all the time? Okay, cool. Because like I'm so used to having a rice cooker, and so I'm just like, cool, like the guesswork is taken out.
It's just you
1000%. Yeah, just like press the thing, and then like and then like just whatever. And so I'm always so used to it, and I grew up with being in the US, I grew up with that. But now I'm just like, I don't want to waste like another pound or two like taking my things. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do the pot.
I'm like, what fits in a luggage?
Yeah, the silliest thing.
My clothes barely fit in my luggage, so it's not like I can go lug around. I will be buying myself an air fryer this weekend though.
I learned that like having like a hot plate, which like a lot of places don't allow you, but whatever, and having an air fryer is like, that's your oven and that's your stove for gigs, and that's primarily that.
It's you could make anything in an air fryer.
Oh my
Truly.
God, anything and everything.
My friend made a cake in an air fryer.
What?
And I was
what?
Like,
that's insane.
In the dorms. This is like 2018.
Oh, insane. Yeah. Really? Holy shit, that's crazy.
It's insane.
That's so cool.
And it was good.
Really? Oh God, okay. Oh, that's so fascinating. My sister loves using an air fryer. And like just makes almost everything from that. But yeah, I don't ever use it. I think maybe just because like oven or like whatever else, but like I never use air fryer. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love my appliances. If I'm at home, I'm a self-proclaimed chef. Like, yeah. But here, it's kind of like, I'm gonna have a girl dinner tonight. Oh,
that's so fascinating because I'm the complete opposite. Because like my mom usually cooks at home, so like I almost never cook when I'm at home, and she always cooks Filipino food, and so I would rather that than like the non-Filipino food that I make, because I feel like I make like every single thing except for Filipino food when I'm on the road. And maybe because like I haven't really learned or whatever else. I made champorado one time. If you've ever had it,
I don't make it, but
I don't either. I made it once and I was like, oh, this is so easy. Actually, this is really great.
Okay, what's your recipe?
I think it's almost like making. I actually have forgotten. This is so embarrassing. It was my year, like Glimmer Glass, and I think it was like almost making rice, but you're just like stirring it. I think you're stirring it, and then like you add cocoa into it. Oh. So it's just for those that don't know, champorado is just chocolate porridge, and so yeah, I actually forgot how you do it. But I asked my mom and I was Googling it and everything. She was like, just do this. I don't know how your parents are like whenever you're just like, how do you make the recipe for this? Because like, we don't keep recipes. And they're my just like, just do this.
My grandma actually says, she goes, especially with the patis, she's always like, oh, you just put a little pss, pss. Yeah, and then my mom, I was like, Mom, how much do I put in? She goes, just like a little pss, pss. And I went, oh, you said it too.
Oh my God. Yeah. There's like no measurements.
You just measure with your heart, you know?
Yeah, correct. And so, but like my thing is like, whenever I try to recreate something, I always like manage to just like fuck it up. I make like, I feel like a totally different dish. My mom one time was just like showing me, oh yeah, just like make soup like this or whatever. And I was like, this is not how you make it. It's really good, but like this is not how you make it. So maybe I don't know. I'm so poor about like actually cooking anything Filipino, but I admire that you do that. Like that's so freaking cool.
I mean, my mom used to cook. I mean, she still does cook a lot. But I don't think I really learned how to cook until I was in college, until I was in my undergrad. And I had an Instant Pot and I had a little hot plate in my dorm room. Right. And I would go to Trader Joe's or I would go to, any Asian market. There were more easily accessible H Marts in New York.
They're smaller, I would say.
They're
but
very
like they're
small,
still like
but I was able to go there a couple times and lug it all the way back up to Morningside Heights.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I learned how to make food probably when I was in college, just because that's when I started getting homesick.
Oh wow, okay.
And so when I'm home now, my parents are working long hours, and so I like to go out and go grocery shopping, and I like to have dinner ready for everybody when they're home from the day.
That's so wonderful.
I do it when I can, but then also I'm not home all that often. Especially when I was home for the gap year, I'd be like, what do you guys want for dinner tonight?
Oh,
and I also worked at the bakery, so I could bring home like the leftovers from the bakery. I'm like, what else do I make? The sinigang is kind of a new thing for me. I learned it from my roommate, Kyle Tingzon. He was also in Callisto. He's also Filipino. And I actually never really liked sinigang growing up.
Actually, me either.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. And then like lately, I'm just like,
it's
hell yeah.
sour soup. And then now I'm like, it's sour soup.
Yeah, yeah. Like my mom would either make it with pork or like lately she's been doing salmon, which I'm just like, this is like.
My mom always makes it with golden pompano.
Yes. So yeah, my dad would do that.
I went to the Asian store yesterday and I was like, is that a golden pompano? And they were like, yeah. And I went, can you cut the head off, please, though? Because I just cannot look at it. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna cook it if I see that.
But like, I feel like I don't know about your parents, but like my parents definitely cook with the head, and I'm just
no, my mom does too, and she's like, I can't believe you had them cut it off. Like it's the
like
most
the flavor. Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm like, okay, but like I can't look at that.
I was gonna throw it away. For sure.
Like, no, I can't look at it.
I'm okay.
I can't do it. And she'll like eat the eye, and I'll be like, no.
Just like the milky eyes, like the end. I'm just like, I don't want to stay. I don't want my food staring back at me.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
In my little instant pot. No.
Like the first thing that like that you see. I don't know if you've ever had balut, but like this is so stereotypical.
I haven't had it, but I know my grandpa does all the time.
I went to this is like maybe like over a decade ago, and like we were already here in the States. I was born in the Philippines, and so but we went to this Filipino store in Houston, and I'm just like, and there was like, oh, do you want balut? And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take one. I started peeling it and everything. I started eating the top, and I'm just like, oh, like why did I hate this when I was growing up? This is so good. And then I looked down, and I was like, oh no, this is the actual like embryo of this like thing. Oh my God, I almost started throwing up.
My mom said she would eat it in the dark.
Oh really? Oh, that's smarter. Oh my God. Yeah, and I just could not get past it. And again, like, you know, similarly, with just like your food staring back at you.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I like to be sort of adventurous sometimes. So I'm kind of like, if I'm somewhere, I will try everything once. I mean, I know like escargot is not like the craziest thing to ever happen, but I had never had it before I went to Paris.
Sure,
and I went, I'm in Paris. I have to try it. And I didn't. I thought the flavor was good because of the sauce. I couldn't get over the texture, and like in my head, I was like, I'm eating a snail.
Insane.
I think I would. I don't know. I'm open to trying everything.
Yeah.
But if I don't like it, that will be the only time I try it.
You know what I mean? Right? Yeah, for sure. That's cool. Oh my God. What else do you cook?
I always just cook my mom's recipes, my mom and dad's recipes. Even for Christmas, I made them like a little handmade DIY cookbook of like Suarez family recipes.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so I have all those recipes in my head, and that's like usually what I'll make. My mom makes really good lumpia and pancit.
Oh my God.
She makes ginitaang kalabasa, sitaw kalabasa.
Oh, cool.
What else? Arroz caldo.
Oh, cool. Heck yeah.
Beef soup, asado, machado. And then I call it balatong. My family calls it balatong, but I know a lot of people call it mungo.
Yeah, mungo. Yeah. I haven't had mungo in a while, but I used to love that when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. I make that very often.
Really? Okay. What's your favorite? Is that what your favorite is?
If I'm sick, it's definitely the chicken sutanhon.
Oh, cool. Okay. Very cool. Yeah,
it's just a bunch of ginger and garlic and onion, and if that doesn't save you, I don't know what's going to. You know.
Do you make lumpia a lot?
No. It's such a process.
It is.
It takes so long. But when you do it, you make a huge batch.
And you put it in Ziploc bags.
Ziploc bags, and you put it in the freezer.
And then you're set for months. It's like, do you want lumpia? When did you get lumpia? Like, this is like from months ago.
I made it like 6 months ago, but it's still good because it's in the freezer.
It was frozen. Yeah. 1000%. Sometimes my mom would just be like, do you want lumpia? I'm just like, hell yeah, I want lumpia.
Yeah, and you have to make the turon as well when you're like wrapping everything.
Oh, because like the wrapper's insane. Yeah, insane. Yeah. Oh,
it's my favorite.
Yeah. There's been like my mom lately. I don't know if you ever had this. My mom made gulaman, which is like the earliest iteration of like what bubble tea would be like or whatever. And so it had like jellies and stuff and like boba inside and stuff. And so lately she like made that, and I'm just like, what? Like, that's fucking cool. And so it's nice because like sometimes there would be like things that she would like revisit of just like she would make. Like I love her making beefsteak or like, even like Filipino spaghetti with like the cut up hot dogs and stuff. But yeah, oh my God. Oh, I'm missing this.
I know.
I'm getting hungry.
Well, I have some sinigang over there for you.
I'm so excited, you guys. she was just
that was our deal. If he got me the stuff, I'd bring him a bowl.
She was like, how much is it? I'm just like, you know what? Just give me a bowl of it and like, let's call it even. And so it was funny because like Amazon also didn't just sell the individual packets, or they did, but it would come like a week or two or however long later. And I can
make 14 pots now.
Yeah, well, I got 14 packets and then like 2 bottles of the fish sauce, and I'm just like, you're gonna use this. Hopefully, here you go.
It's gone already.
Amazing. That's perfect. But yeah, no, I miss mom's cooking. I think that for me is like what I always look forward to. And also like for me, that's something that my mom just loves to do and is just like very much like providing wise, even for her like shift mates that are there. And she's just like making like a lot of food. And so like my sister loves to go out to eat, and like her and her fiance. But like for me, I will always eat mom's cooking for like 3 or 4 meals. They always make fun of me. They're just like, there's no food at home. It's like, Mom, you've made like sinigang plus the adobo plus like whatever else. Like there's still a lot of food here. It's like I made that like earlier this week. I'm just like,
I'll eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't care.
And I have before too. And so but like they're like, in a way they always make fun of me. They're just like, are you still eating that? I'm just like, yeah, like I'm just gonna watch it go bad. I feel like for me, food has been this wondrous thing for like, especially when I go home, and you know, like for you as well, I'm sure, is that I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm at home and like amongst that community as well. Speaking of community, do you want to talk about your the project that you're curating right now?
Sure. So I'm curating my first event, a community-based event, and it's called Kapwa, which means to embrace and shared identity. And like, I think it's so interesting because like my family is full Filipino, but my grandma on my dad's side was born and raised in Paia, Maui, and then over in Oahu. So cool. There's a lot of Hawaiian influence in my family, hence Kealani, hence my little aloha dress.
Oh my gosh.
But so I've always been like immersed in Hawaiian culture, and I'm like, if I know anything about the Philippines, and like I haven't been back to the Philippines ever. So it's like, if I know anything about Filipino culture, it's the food and it's my family.
You know what's crazy is like my first time going to Hawaii was the summer, and my sister has gone already before with her fiance, I think like a year or two ago, and it was the first and only time that we were ever still in the U.S. where we're just like, oh, this feels like the Philippines. This feels like the Philippines. I've never been here before, but this kind of feels like home in a way.
We would go every year growing up because we have so much family there, and my mom and dad and my entire family, like they all danced in a halau. They danced hula and Tahitian, played the drums, the ukulele. The ukulele was my first instrument, actually. I always say that I started in musical theater, but I really started by sitting in front of the computer and finding ukulele tabs and chords and learning on YouTube. And
oh my gosh,
I have a lot of embarrassing videos of me doing that.
You still have it available?
Maybe if you go to the Kapwa page, it might appear somehow.
Heck yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was so fun. And for Kapwa, I'm actually going to be playing the ukulele, and I'm going to be singing Aloha Oi for my uncle who passed earlier this year. But I'm going to then play a snippet of Akaka Falls, which is like a beautiful Hawaiian melody. But I'll be playing that, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone because I've always been either playing and singing and just doing chords, but this is like true finger picking traditional Hawaiian ukulele. And so it'll be a challenge, but I think it's shaping up to be a very beautiful piece.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
That'll be very fun.
What inspired you to do this? Because like it's all AAPI represented, like this entire concert. So like that is so fascinating. Like when I first got here, like our first rehearsal, you were just like, hey, I'm doing this thing, and it's like in the middle of November, and I was like, fudge cakes, I'm not here. But like the more I started to like know more about this, and I started following the page, and I was like, this is friggin' cool. And like what you programmed as well for it, and like hearing more about it from you, I'm just like, this is such a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
What inspired this? Like this is so cool. Like what a wonderful concept.
Thank
you.
This
entire thing is.
Well, so it started as an idea in my head, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But it was for the community artist projects that we do here at Curtis. And they were like, Emily, what do you want to do for your project? You know, you kind of have to do this to graduate, but also it should be something you're passionate about. And I had this idea of kind of doing a similar concept to Opera Under the Arch that I was a part of in New York with Sung Shin. We would go to Washington Square Park and we would stand on the piano and there'd be a lot of candles around, and it would just create such a beautiful community of even if you're just passing by. I mean, you hear opera and you stop and you see somebody on top of a piano.
Right.
And I wanted to do that somehow here, maybe in Rittenhouse, but that wasn't really my own idea. It's a beautiful idea. It's a great idea, but it wasn't mine.
Right.
You know,
like
and
the concept is
the concept of it. Like, and it would be great to have that here as well. So maybe that could be something that, I don't know, somebody picks up. But I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, I've never been in a fully Filipino production, and so it started as a fully Filipino concept. And then I thought about it and I said, if this were in San Francisco, I'd have a whole cast. I'd have an entire audience already. Yeah. I would have, you know, so many resources, but I'm over in Philly and I had just moved here at the time. And so I kind of thought about it and I said, I have a bigger network and bigger community if I open up to Asian and AAPI. And I said, maybe I can also, you know, work in the BIPOC community as well and make it like a huge event. Eventually, I kind of had to narrow it down just for my own sake of curating and organizing. And so that's where I started to program the piece. And we have so many different cultures. You know, we have...
Of course. We're not a monolith. We are our own thing.
Yeah, we have Chinese, Filipino, we have Hawaiian, Tongan, Bengali, Indian, Japanese. We have so many cultures represented and communities represented in this program, and they're all singing pieces from their native languages and things like that. And for me, I don't speak my native language. I don't speak Tagalog or Ilocano or Visayan, and this has been kind of a way for me to, in my own way, my own journey, kind of start to
touch the roots a little bit.
Understand it a bit, you know?
Yeah.
And I was even able to talk to my grandma, and she pronounced all of the Ilocano for me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I talked to Kyle, and he's helping me with the Tagalog. And so it's my own journey to it, you know?
Yeah. There's like, I forgot what it is. The Tagalog like song cycle. Isn't it? Like I've had a friend that has like done it for as like one of her languages for her recital, like back in like undergrad or whatever. So gorgeous. And I was just like, I can understand what you're saying. Like she also doesn't speak, she was born here, she doesn't speak Visaya or Tagalog, and I was just like, girl, I can understand you, this is great. Like I don't know what you did for the for like learning like learning it in general. I mean, it's very phonetic anyway. But I was like, this is cool. And like, you know, like that inclusionary aspect of it, I was like, this is really gorgeous. And like,
I hope I can sing it all with clear diction for the concert.
Well, like even just like talking to you through like, even like the foods and like even saying the word kapwa, I was like, oh, like you got that. Like it was to the point where I'm just like, oh, like you speak, like I expected you to speak some dialect, or at least like Tagalog or something, and you're just like, no, I don't. I'm just like, what? No, like you would have fooled me, like hearing you speak about it.
Because we're so immersed in all the different languages to sing opera, you know. I can't speak all of them, but I can sing in Italian, German, French. I've done a couple operas in Czech, and like this was my first time.
I was like, oh, which one have you done? I was like, oh, right, the one that we did.
Vixen and Yanufa.
Right. Insane.
Yeah, but I mean, we sing in all these different languages. But this is my first time. I mean, I sang a kundiman for
yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I sang a kundiman for my senior recital. That was my first time ever diving into this huge world of Filipino classical music. I didn't know it existed, unfortunately, until I found my first kundiman, and then I sang it, and then it just opened up. And that's kind of, I guess that's where I really got the first concept for Kapwa.
Really?
That,
okay.
You know, I was in that class and I was thinking about, I have this idea, but it's not fully mine. And now I have this other idea where it would be full Filipino. And then I broadened it to Asian and API. And so that's kind of where the concept came about.
For me, your concert is like so Wear Yellow Proudly coded, because we came from this like very virtual world of like Stop Asian Hate and everything. And like it was just like us existing on YouTube or just like Facebook and Instagram and everything, and then now just like going into more so concerts and like live things. And so it's so wonderful hearing about other concerts or recitals or performances in general of just like, this is us, and also even just like a broader sense as well of just like, it's not just also Filipino, it's also like these other Asian cultures as well. So this is so cool. Like I'm so bummed that I'm missing it, but
it's okay. We'll have a live stream.
Yeah,
we'll have a professional recording of it, so that'll be
that is so cool.
On
if
the
you're
platforms.
in Philly, November 15th
at 5 p.m. at Gould Hall in Curtis Institute of Music.
Yeah,
come to Kapwa.
Yeah, oh my god, that is so cool. I cannot wait. I don't have anything on that day. I have like a lot of things.
Fly back.
I know, actually. I'm flying back to I'm flying back specifically to Houston, but yeah, and then I have like some other projects there. But I think like that day of, I feel like I'm just gonna be like, I'm here, like I'm gonna be like rooting for you guys. So
Thank you.
Oh my god, that is so exciting.
It's gonna be such a great show. Like I mean, it started as this idea, and it started because I wanted to be part of
and you're producing it. This is so insanely cool.
Curating, producing, directing. I'm doing all of it, and this is my first time doing any of that. Besides, you know, I've always been the singer in the productions, and so now being on the other side of it, I'm realizing how many moving parts there are, and how much it takes to put on a recital, a concert of this sort. It's a huge learning experience, and also I've been able to learn about myself through it and like my identity, and you know, we talked a little bit about how I'm me and my family were very immersed in the Hawaiian culture, but still trying to find like where I fit in with my Filipino side. I just feel sometimes disconnected because I don't speak Tagalog, and so this has kind of been a way where I held a discussion panel over at Glimmer Glass with some of our Asian and API artists, and that was really like, it started off with me leading it through questions, and then it turned into a conversation, and there were many points of it where we all just kind of sat there like, like yes, like whatever anybody was saying was just so deep and profound, and we all related to it, and like to be able to kind of like find myself through this program, through this project, when it started as me really just wanting to graduate, you know. But now it's become like so big. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than the cast that we have involved. It's like entire community event. I've reached out to so many different people through it, and you know, I've been able to connect with my family on a deeper level too, so it's just a beautiful program. I'm so excited for it.
I mentioned this before in the podcast, is that I never really got into my Asian, specifically my Filipino roots, until I joined Wear Yellow Proudly, and like I was never really wearing yellow proudly, never really caring so much about my culture until I joined, and I was like, oh, like what if I learned a little bit more, and you know, and I think it was just this level of assimilation after we've immigrated, where I was like, oh, like cool, like I'm kind of shedding that part of me, but it's always going to be a part of you, and you know, like whatever, however much you want to identify with it, it's still there. And so it for me, it took an embarrassingly long time to just be like, oh, like, you know, this is where you come from, and I feel like understanding that will help you understand, at least what I was saying with myself, is that I was understanding that is helping you with who you are and how you want to identify with in the future. It doesn't take away from how you are like, and you know, and so it was like so fascinating. I'm just like, wow, this is really cool. And so like I was grilling my mom when I was in Houston, of just like, what's our family tree like, or what is this like, and like what is our ancestry? I've had many discussions
with my parents
about
my
god that. Because like part of your last name is Suarez.
Yes.
Yeah, and like mine's Sanchez, and so it's very much, you know, like what part of it was even Spanish and stuff, and so because like both sides of my family are also just like Spanish influenced, and so you know, she'd be like, your great grandfather was this like gorgeous like Spanish man and blah blah blah, like, and your great grandmother was this like less gorgeous like Filipina, just like mixed with like Chinese and just like all these other parts, and I'm just like, mother. And so, you know, but like still like I never knew that. I never dig deeper. Again, especially when we immigrated, and like I wish that I can. I mean, I'd like to I don't know, maybe not necessarily document it, but just be like, I want to kind of dive into it, because like most of my family, at least on my mom's side, is in the Philippines, and that's whenever we do go. I haven't been in 5 years. Whenever we do go, we stay with them and we hang out with them. And like my cousins who were like 2 or 3 years old when I was 8, when I immigrated, are like, you know, like in their like mid to late 20s now. And so it was cool because like I would watch them eat dirt when I was like, you know, like when we were younger, and now we're just like, one of them is a bodybuilder, and like he's like twice my size, and you know, like, and we would go to clubs and like go hang out and everything and go drink and stuff. And so massive difference, obviously. And so but I would just like follow this man on Insta, and like we're very close, and so like not as close as I'd like to be, but I'm just like, oh my god, you're fucking massive. But you know, like, but also like that side of my family, my uncle knows a little bit more, and I'm just like, oh, like I wish I could just like pick your brain endlessly, just like how this is like. But you know, it's, I don't know, it's this level of appreciating the community that you come from, and then you know, kind of going from there, and like what does this mean from that. But yeah, I think this is so rad that like you get to share this and experience this with
and like here. Not only learning about my own culture and identity, but also learning about everybody else's, because we have 8 communities represented, and I feel like it just expands from here. I mean, we talked a little bit about maybe doing Kapwa again, and it is a lot of work that I just did not realize, you know, being on the
no, sorry. We were just talking about this before we started recording, and like, you know, like you said, is that like wearing the administrative hat, or just like wearing this different, you know, having this other job code of, oh, like how do you put on a show in general? Can you talk a little bit more about that, like your experiences with it and stuff? And I mean, so this is my original concept, and this is like my passion project. I'm so passionate about putting this on and having this this space for all of us to have, and to share to share, what is it? To embrace in shared identity. But I'm so passionate about making this community space work, you know, and it started as this small idea, and it's bloomed into this big thing. But I really came in it with performer eyes. What do you mean by that?
I've always been on the performing aspect of it, you know. I'm the singer, so give me the music, I'll learn it, I'll come prepared, I'll come ready for any staging or whatever, for the concept of it, and then we'll perform it. And I knew that so much went on the other side of the table, but I wasn't ever involved in that stuff. So now that I am kind of curating this event, and I am wearing the administrator hat, I realized that there's just so much more into making an event like this happen. You know, I mean, just this week I was doing a show flow chart, and I was like, I've never done one of these. I've had to hire people. I'm dealing with paychecks, and I'm dealing with giving people their music, and I'm, you know, creating the programs myself. I have my own pitch deck. I have a Google Drive with all of the materials in it. I'm coordinating between a lot of the artists, and just, you know, it's just a lot of things that you really don't think about when you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go sing in a hall with all my friends, you know, and we're gonna sing stuff that we love. And you don't realize that it's an entire production in the backstage, you know? And like, I've always known that to an extent, because, you know, opera is collaborative. Opera is just fully interdisciplinary, and there's so many things that make it run. So I knew it. I wasn't ever like, oh, it's just the singers, but at the same time, it's nothing that I had to be fully involved in. Of
course. And why would you have to be? You know what I mean? Like, like you're worried about like what you're doing, and you know, that's your part in the grand scheme of this.
Yeah. And so to like be able to dive into the other aspects of it and like the other side, I guess I keep saying, of being the curator for this, it's been a huge learning experience. It hasn't all been positive. There's definitely been ups and downs, but honestly, I just feel like that will make it all worth it, you know, going through all the hurdles and the trials and tribulations and things like that. You know, going through all of that and being flexible and making things still work. I think when November 15 comes around, I think that it'll be all worth it, you know?
Yeah. And this is your baby, you know?
It's my baby.
Like, this is your thing.
This is my passion project. Like, you know?
I think ever since you mentioned even just like the name of it to me, cause like, I don't know of like, for me in my mind, like ever since like I've heard of it, I don't know of like a direct translation of kapwa.
Yeah,
like
that's kind of what I have, in my research, I kind of found that was my definition for it and the definition that like shows up more frequently, but there's so many other ways to describe that word, you know, to like, translate that word. Yeah,
because like for me, like the word kapwa means like your own kind, or like like community in a way. But like when I say like of your own kind, it doesn't mean like, oh, like exclusionarily like this just only my people. It's more so just like, you know, like I feel like it's more so the latter, that it is community, but. I don't know. I think it's so gorgeous, like that word in general, and just like the fact that you're calling it that, because it's I don't know. It's more so of a universal, like, oh, like you are invited to the table kind of term, and for me, that's how I view that as. And so whenever I see it, or like whenever it pops up on my feed, I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. And so I don't know, like I think it's so fitting. I feel like anytime that anybody ever programs anything, especially that is like API related, it's so fascinating just being like, oh, like how do you describe the things and like make it broad enough to be like, okay, like include the things, but also how do you talk about your own experiences? Right. I think kapwa is so gorgeous, just like the concept in general.
And you know, it actually was untitled for the longest time. I just narrowed it down maybe like 2 or 3 months ago for the title. It had always been in my head because I always kind of resonated with that. I always kind of kept going back to the word kapwa, and I was like, you know, there's like,
how did you stumble onto the word?
There's Kapwa Gardens over in San Francisco.
Oh, what?
And so that is also a community-based project, and they have a bunch of street fairs, and they had the Ube Festival that I went to with one of my Filipina friends. And so, you know, I didn't want to copy them, you know, I didn't, but it was a word that always resonated with me. And so I was like, okay, let me explore every other option. And every other option, they were good options. They were good words that I could have used, but I just kept going back to the word kapwa. And I was like, that's really what this entire project is that we are embracing in shared identity, you know? So I'm really happy with being able to finalize that and to finally name it something. Because this entire time I'm like, oh yeah, it's my master's project. Oh yeah, the event, you know, and to be able to have a word, a name. So I'm really happy that we can, and it's a beautiful way to describe the program too. So
I think it's so gorgeous. I think it's so rad.
By doing this project, you know, I'm learning so much about everything else that it takes to curate and put on a show like this. And I think that in a way it's kind of unlocked something in me of where I've always wanted to be the singer. I've always wanted to be front and center, which that hasn't gone away.
No, of course not. Oh my god, like as you should continue to do it.
I'm so excited about having a performing career, and I'm really excited and blessed with what I've been able to sing and perform, especially this year has been insane. But by doing this program, like, I think this is the first of hopefully many kapwa shows to come. And I think that it's really like unlocked this passion for advocacy and for creating this space and for
providing it too.
And I think it's a beautiful concept that can just keep going and keep growing. You know, we have the concept, we have the program. As it continues, we can get different artists, different communities involved, different venues,
different cultures.
Yeah. So I think it's everything is a learning experience, and I've learned about myself not only deeper into my culture, into my roots, but also that I love kind of curating and having this thing that is like purely my own, but so much bigger than just me, you know?
Oh my God. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like how rewarding that is and everything. And forgive me for being presumptuous, but like you even talking about other projects too, of like not just Kapwa, but like other inclusive projects or concerts and everything. Like that's so exciting. And like that's something that we should look out for.
I think now that I have this little fire in me, I wrote this actually in a grant proposal. We're very excited to be supported by Young Arts Foundation. I applied for one of their micro grants, and we were awarded it to help pay with the collaboration fees for our artists, because originally everybody was volunteering to do this project. And everybody's excited and everybody's volunteering their time, which is very gracious of them. But I just thought it was so important to pay our artists,
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. And like, we're putting so much work and we're putting so much heart into this project. It's a small stipend, but it's something. It's not, it's better than nothing.
It's still valuing your artists, of just like, hey, like, this is something that we would like to, give you at least, like for being a part of this. And it's still upholding. For sure.
And so in that grant proposal, I think I said, this started as a spark, this started as an idea, and now it's going into a bonfire. And I'm so excited for that.
Oh my God, it's giving me chills right now. Holy crud. Oh, that's so gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah. So I'm happy that this project has brought that out of me. Yeah. Because I would have never known,
Sure, yeah.
It is a very interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary event. I originally wanted to include, culinary arts. I wanted to have fashion. I wanted to have visual arts. And those are all kind of things that we had to narrow down to really make this production work. But we have a beautiful program, and I'm really excited about it. So it's going to include voice. We have almost every voice type in classical voice, but also I'll be singing kind of a pop song at the end. It's Lemonade by Jeremy Passion.
Oh, cool.
Which I think is like a Philam anthem, Like I feel like so many of my family members, like my cousins and everything, we all learned it on the ukulele and all that stuff. And so we have just lots of disciplines represented. We have the classical voice, we have all the voice types, we have violin, we have oboe, we have piano, we have traditional Japanese shamisen, we have traditional Hawaiian ukulele, we have multimedia through the audio soundscape from the Glimmerglass artist, and then also family video that will be shown of my parents' wedding.
Oh, that's so precious.
My mom danced the Hawaiian wedding dance, and my dad had an ukulele serenade for her. And then all my aunties and uncles, they were part of the halau. So there is some Tahitian dance and some Tahitian drumming, and all the keiki, the kids, like they're my older cousins, but they were little babies at that time. They're also dancing. So there'll be a video aspect to the performance as well. It's just very, I feel like there's just so much inclusion in it. It's not just a voice performance, which I'm often in, We're really bringing all these aspects and ideas together into this one program.
That is so gorgeous. Holy crud. I did not know that. That is so cool. That is so wonderful.
That's
so cool.
I've been very homesick this week, and being able to watch that video and to edit it down into I have to make it less than 5 minutes.
Sure,
but it's so beautiful, and seeing my parents' love on screen, it's just it's so beautiful. I mean, they are a great example of a beautiful relationship, and they just celebrated 27 years this year.
No way.
And I had always heard about their wedding. I'd always seen pictures of the ceremony and of the reception, but we just were able to connect the recorder to the TV. And this summer, we, as a family, my brother wasn't there, but the rest of us were over in the living room, and we said, okay, it's time to watch this. And so we watched it. My dad cried, my mom laughed. But it's just so beautiful, and I had never seen that. And also, seeing all of my family members. They're all so young, and it was just a beautiful video, and I'm so happy to be able to share that.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I cannot wait. That is so freaking cool. So you were the one that was like editing like what would be like the final video for
yeah. So
concert?
I mean, it could only be really under 5 minutes just because of the time constraints that we have for a
Sure,
show.
Yeah.
If I could, I'd be like, we're doing a movie presentation of my mom and dad's wedding.
yeah. Intermission, and then we're watching this. But
I think what I have together right now, it's beautiful. I mean, my mom looks beautiful. My dad looks very handsome. All of my aunties and uncles, they're all doing their thing. Yeah. That's also one thing that I wish I dove into a little bit more. I always tell my parents, I'm like, why didn't you put me in hula? Why didn't you make me go to the halau? And it was just, they told me once the kids were born, that wasn't their world anymore. They were very, very immersed in that world, but once we were all born, priorities change, like things, you have 3 kids to take care of. You can't always be in rehearsal for, to dance. And so they were like, you found your own path though. You found your own path in the arts. And that was through ukulele, and then that was through musical theater, and then classical voice and opera. And the career that I've been living this past year or two, I've really only been in the young artist circuit for the past 3 years, maybe.
That's crazy to think about.
And I just feel very blessed to have the opportunities to do Callisto, like the title role at Glimmerglass. Like that is insane to me. But it is bigger than my wildest dreams. If you told younger Emily that we would be an opera singer, I don't think she would believe you.
Oh my God.
I have this picture. I'll show you later. But it's at my auntie's house in Daly City, and it's with 2 or 3 of my other cousins, and we're playing Rock Band or Guitar
cool.
Hero.
Yeah.
And I have a little mic, and I'm just like a little girl like singing into it, and I was like, somebody tell her that we did all of this. Like it's just beyond my wildest dreams.
Like the opportunities that you've had, that are having currently, present, and future for Emily right now. Like that is so wonderful.
Beyond my wildest dreams. I just feel very lucky. One thing I've been doing with this project is doing a bunch of research, and like,
how's that going?
I'm learning through like experiencing curating this, but also I have to do my own research, and I have to kind of gain the knowledge and like education behind all of this work that I'm doing.
Have you been having a lot of luck much with it? Because I feel like I have to like really dig into
so I'm taking a research methods course right now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so, I'm digging through dictionaries and encyclopedias. I'm digging through journal articles, and like one of the keywords that I plug into every single website is like Filipino music.
Cool.
But just today, I just finished my research paper. And I have just a bunch of works cited stuff that, and just reading through all of it, it's so informative. And I just feel like now I have kind of the knowledge to back up what I am presenting.
Yeah, amazing.
Because we can present this, but I can still be kind of ignorant to,
of course,
what
you are doing.
Yeah. So I think, there's still a world of knowledge to be learned. But not only am I trying to put that on stage, I'm also trying to just like deepen my own knowledge and experience and education on the subject.
And in turn, like you're also educating the rest of us too about it, which is really, really cool. That is so rad. I feel like whenever I have not done a lot of research, and just like for my own
I haven't
curiosity.
Until this.
Sure, yeah. And it's just like
I read a dissertation. I was like, whoa, I read 200 pages, and I was like, I'm tired, but I learned a lot.
Wow, holy crud. Yeah. It's not for me. Like I feel like whenever I have tried to dig into it, I was like, it's not a lot of information, especially about like Filipino culture, just like immigration and everything, and just how impactful and stuff is like. And so it's always so fascinating, and so I feel like for like future projects for me, I'm just like, I want to dive into it.
There's this one article that I'll send you. It's the strategies that Filipino youth have used in finding culture through music and identity.
Oh, please do. Yeah. That's so cool.
I think I might have butchered that title, but that's the cool general subject of the article. And I was shaking my head yes during the entire thing. I was like, I relate to this.
Oh, that's
and
so
I
cool.
like understand a lot of the strategies that have been used in.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to find the sources that I wanted to use for that paper.
Yeah.
And I stumbled across that one and I was like, that's exactly what I need to read right now.
Oh,
you know?
Sure, yeah.
And so I'm really happy that through this class that is required, I was able to find something that like so deeply resonates. But also, I mean, that's what CAPA is. I mean, like it's a required thing to graduate, but it's become this huge passion project that I can probably, hopefully, will take past this institution.
Please. Oh my God, as you should, as it deserves, I think. Emilie, this has been so fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And also like we get to work together like later on this season, which is super duper exciting. Please check out the Kapwa concert curated by Emilie Kealani here. This is super duper rad, especially if you're in the Philadelphia area, like mid-November. This is super wonderful. And if you want to check out Kapwa and also Emilie, do you want to plug your socials?
Sure. So my Instagram is at Emilie Kealani, and the Kapwa Instagram is at Kapwa_music. I also have a page for my advocacy on my website, which is emiliekealani.com/advocacy, which has all the information for the Kapwa event and my pitch presentation and kind of just the inspiration of how it came to be.
That's so rad. Well, cool. Emilie, thank you so much for being a part of this. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Yay. Thanks so much for joining us. If you like this one, like, share, and subscribe to join us for future episodes. Hope to catch you on the next one.